welcome back to the channel for another video on GT Sport. We're back with a track guide for the FIA manufactured round 2 that is taking place today. I wanted to get this track guide out before the race took place, just to help anyone out that's going to do this race later today. Obviously, my manufacturer is the Mercedes SLS. It's probably not the strongest car for this track, but it's drivable, it's got reasonable speed, and I don't mind this car. I was a little bit worried about this car in terms of its overall speed. It's definitely lacking that cutting edge in terms of outright pace, but it's really drivable, so I don't mind it. It's a little bit like the Ferrari, but I'd say like the Ferrari had a little bit more pace, but equally both as drivable, and they seem like consistent cars to drive. So hopefully I can get a few good results in this Mercedes. Maybe at some certain tracks I might be a bit stronger than other tracks. This track wasn't particularly the best track for this car. It's good on the straight line, but through the really fast corners, obviously that front engine really does create some understeer that you have to deal with. Hopefully this track guide will be beneficial for most types of car, because obviously it's a fast flowing track, and the braking points shouldn't be that much difference. The only cars that are probably going to have slightly different braking points are going to be really light cars like your Megane Trophy and stuff, that are probably able to brake that a little bit later, because they're just not carrying as much speed into the corners. If you're going 8 to 10 miles per hour faster into a corner, you're going to have to brake that little bit a little bit earlier. So that's all. You're going to have to bear that in mind, depending on the car that you're using. Anyway, we're going to get underway with this track guide in a second. As you can see there, the lap just coming to the end on the replay, and this lap wasn't an ultimate lap. I just got a reasonable lap done, and I've mainly not really been doing the time trial. I've been mainly trying to concentrate on the online lobby with the proper settings in terms of my practice. So this was obviously my qualifying time in the actual time trial session that we're going to show you now, and hopefully in the race I can get a reasonable result in this car. I'm not too sure how it's going to be compared to other cars. It seems reasonable, it seems consistent, so we'll see how that goes later. Anyway, starting your lap, obviously to start is just very simple. It's just flat out in 6th gear. One thing I would advise doing is trying to stay to this left hand side and try and keep your car in straight as line as possible all the way to the corner. You'll see I'm trying to put a little steering angle in as possible. You can see there, so I'm skimming that wall and then going straight line pretty much up to the braking point, which you're going to be looking out for that 100 board. So we're going to slow it down now, and there you're going to be looking out for that board. I brake just before that 100 board there, you can see. So as I play it through, the braking kicks in, and going down to 3rd gear for this corner, you really need to aim to get your right hand tyre as close to that wall as possible. If you do it, the car will grip a little bit more, and you'll swing around this corner with a real amount of speed. You can see there, pretty much getting that perfect. Could have been a little bit faster, but reasonably okay. Then into 4th gear, and then this corner I stay in 4th gear for this corner, and you'll notice that little bit of wall that separates there. It's where the telephone box is. That's where you want to dab the brakes very quickly. You can see there, you see the telephone box, and you can see my braking inputs going in there. Just a quick dab of brakes, and then straight back off the brakes, and then onto the power in a minute. You can see there, you need to get this car as close to the wall again, just like the previous corner, and full power going in. You want to get on that power as early as possible, but just be careful you don't go too early. You'll hit the wall, otherwise. You can see how close I got to the wall there, using as much of the track as I physically can. You've got to be brave against the walls on this track, and then this part of the track is pretty much a flat out. One thing I would advise to do is just stay to as close as you can to this left hand side wall, just putting gentle steering inputs in, don't put any aggressive movements in, and then again getting over to the right hand side for this right hand corner and staying as close to the right hand wall as possible again here, and be gentle and try and keep the car over to the right hand side so that you can attack this really fast corner. This is a tricky one. Braking just about now before the 50 board there, you can see the brake inputs going in, and you got to aim to turn in very early. You can see there, you want to hit that apex where the arrow is, pretty much on the left hand side, and really try and skim the wall as you go in. Look how close I got there, so close. And again, be as aggressive as you can without hitting the walls on the second part. Again, you've got to get very close to that wall again there, and on the power you can see I managed to carry nearly 125 miles per hour all the way through that corner, which was reasonably good speed. And then we're going to come into this next corner, which is again a really fast attacking corner, which all you need to do is just a slight lift off the accelerator just about here, and again you're going to aim to get your front tyres close to the wall as possible. You can see there, just throwing it in there and back on the power, and use some of the left hand, the track goes quite wide here, and you can use quite a lot of the track on the left hand side. Just be careful not to hit the wall. You can see again getting so close, and you've got to swing the car back over to this right hand side to attack this corner. This corner I missed the apex ever so slightly. You can see there, just a quick lift off the power again, and you can see I didn't get as close to that wall as I would have liked and lost a bit of time, but you have the advantage of the track being very wide at this point, so it gives you the chance to lift off if you need to before you go in, as close to that barrier again as possible. sometimes you may need to lift there and just bring it back over. And now this corner, braking just before the 50, you see the braking inputs going in just before the 50 there, and you're going to downshift into 4th gear and swing it as early to this wall as possible. You want to try and get as close to the wall on the right hand side as possible, and now you're going to get it back over to the right hand side as soon as possible to swing it into this really fast left hand corner. This is where the Mercedes kind of suffers a bit with the front end weight. It just doesn't really want to turn as much as you would like at speed, and then powering through this corner flat out. You can see where that front end is really not wanting to give me the turn in that some other cars will give you, and I actually lost out a bit there because I didn't get the angle quite so well. You can see the Ghost actually gaining on me, so you can see there's probably about 2-3 tenths I can gain on this lap, and then braking just before the 100. You can see there pretty much just after the 150 marker, so that's when the braking inputs are starting, and downshifting it all the way down into 2nd gear. And I like to brake fairly early for this corner so that I can attack the apex of the curb on the right hand side. Some people go quite wide. I think it's better to go very tight here. You can see there, nice and tight in on the apex, and again, keep that right hand front tyre over the second part of the apex on the curb there. And the Mercedes is fairly good at this part of the track. It's got really good traction, so you can get on the power and you can use all that part of the track on the left hand side. It's very wide, so don't be afraid to get on the power very early and just put gentle steering inputs in and use all the track on the full left hand side to get all the power out of the car. You know, there's no need to be putting massive turning angle in and losing speed where you're scrubbing it off. Just be gentle with your inputs, and you can see I actually got ahead of the Ghost because of that at that point. And then you're working your way all the way down the straight for a reasonably good lap. It was a 207.5 by the time we go over the line. There, like I say, I think there was about 2 or 3 more attempts I could take off that, maybe get down to a very 207 flat, but I don't feel the need to push in these sessions as much as possible because there's no importance to them. The important thing comes in the qualifying, so I've been trying to practice more of the race conditions than I have the time trial. Anyway, I hope that's helped you out. What I'll go do now is I'm going to leave you with the behind camera for people that play with the pad, using that camera angle. I'm going to let it play through the whole lap from that view so everyone can take any notes and see how it's played out from that view in full speed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back with more videos soon. Hopefully we'll have the FIA race tomorrow, and hopefully I get a good result. Thanks again for watching, everyone. If you haven't already subscribed, click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos I do upload every single day. Thanks again for watching, everyone.